Today we're putting 2 more base pages to work with some winter photos. I'm Emilee, and you've found Emilee's Paper Caper, where we're all about scrapping our stash and getting pages done. If you're new here, hit subscribe and the bell icon so you don't miss any ideas. Base pages are scrapbook layouts that you create without photos. Then later you can go in and add your photos, and your pages fall together pretty quickly because a lot of the work is already done for you. In my previous video, I showed photos taken at my mom's front yard, and now this layout will be about photos in her backyard. So I'm using some of the elements that I punched and created with the previous video and layout on this layout. I want the 4 pages, these 2 and the 2 done previously in my last video, to all work together. I'm working with 7 photos, so that's quite a lot for a 2-page spread. I will need to figure out how to overlap some of the photos and other elements on the page so that we can get all 7 photos included. Down in the description, I will link to the previous video as well as the video where I talked about creating these base pages. I punched this border strip with a Martha Stewart around the page punch. It is featured in my last video if you want to see more about that punch set. And I've chosen some purple papers to coordinate the layouts. I feel they kind of make me feel like it's a cold winter day in combination with the blue elements on these background pages. The journaling for these pages is really in the previous layout, so for this page title and journaling I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to add January and then 2021. That will serve as both page title and journaling on this particular page. Visually, this 2-page spread really will hold together very tightly with the prior layout that I did with photos from the front yard. Now that I have things pretty well laid out, I'll go in and start adhering the photos to the page and then go in with some embellishment. For embellishment on the page, I'll use a scrap of the same purple that I used to make the couple of the photo mats and one of the border strips. I'll just punch snowflakes out of that same purple and then go in with a liquid adhesive and adhere those snowflakes. I'm randomly dabbing the dots of glue because I want those snowflakes to appear to be kind of floating through the layout, but I also want to fill some of the empty spaces in the layout and draw the eye from photo to photo. I'm a fan of using stickles on my pages to add a little glitz and glimmer without adding a lot of weight or bulk to the page. I do have to wait for about an hour to make sure these are fully dry, but I find that the result in the look is well worth it. One of my New Year's resolutions is to draw and doodle more on my pages. So I'm also going in and creating some snowflake doodles on the background of this solid cardstock background. The pen I'm using is a part of a set that I got for Christmas. They are very pretty pens that have a slight outline when you use them, and they're very shiny. Now I'll turn my attention to the left-hand page. I created a couple of photo mats. These are 4 by 6 inch photo mats that I created from a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. Linked up in the card is a video about common dimensions I use with scrapbooking and card making. Creating these 4 by 6 photo mats is one of the most common measurements that I use over and over again when I'm scrapbooking. I want to embellish this page similarly, so I'm going to use one of the photo mats to punch more snowflakes. I can still use the photo mat perfectly. This center of the photo mat is a perfect opportunity to just extend the use of that paper further on the page. I can still mat my photo easily. It still looks great and perfect. No one will ever know that I cut something out of the center of the photo mat once this is on the page. Off camera, I did a lot of the adhering. I had to find a way to overlap the photos so that I still got all the elements that I wanted to show off on the photos, but I didn't need to show all the photos. A little overlapping of the elements on my page I find pleasing, and that's another way I can fit more photos on the page. Now I'm going to go in and add the snowflake punch outs with my liquid adhesive. Simple embellishments with punched out images or punched out shapes are one of my very favorite ways to embellish a scrapbook page. How about you? Do you enjoy using punches in this way, or do you have another preferred embellishment for your pages? I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. Now that those snowflake punch outs are adhered, I'll go through again with the stickles and embellish a little more. Little glitz and glimmer to reflect the ice that's in these photos. Here are completed looks at the finished pages. Let's keep on scrapping our stash together. I will link to a couple other videos with lots of scrapbooking ideas. We can keep on scrapping together.